Hey everybody, it's Fat Man from the Holler. And as usual, if you like my videos, hit like and subscribe. I think it's time to break bad on a couple scenarios. Like I done some videos and done some reviews on stuff, and I didn't have all the criteria needed. Like here's one for you, simple one, like that Trend Holder, 635 games, one cartridge. I done a little authentic research on this, and you can actually maybe use software and update your Retron system to actually use the cartridge, but it's more for original NES console, stuff of that nature. In some of my reloading videos, I've tried to provide the best content that I could possibly provide with what I have and the knowledge that I have. I'm no professional at reloading or doing anything, and the disclaimer is when I make things and show you guys things, is I'm not responsible for how or anything turns out from harm to death or any of that. I'm not responsible. I just show you what I'm doing and how I do it. I'm not trying to say this is how you do it and this you won't have no problems. Anything you do, you can have problems. Because I do electrical. I'm self-taught electrician, and I've wired up 110 for my garage, 220 for my welder. I've hooked up my kitchen. I've swapped out cables, cords for washers, my oven and stuff like that, and dryer and stuff of that nature. So I ain't no professional. I mean, the wiring for swapping cords and stuff like that is pretty simple. It's like your red, your white, your black is usually hot, and then your green is always ground. So that's pretty simple. But disclaimer is I'm not responsible if somebody did the exact same thing and burnt their house down. That's why certain things I don't put on YouTube. And I have been flagged on YouTube on one of my reloading videos that goes against community standards for showing about casting of ammunition out of lead. And that's fine, as that's the way it has to be. It's the way it has to be. That's why I don't do a lot of things on YouTube that I could be doing. I could be on YouTube showing people how exactly to produce wine, moonshine, grow marijuana, grow mushrooms, manufacture homemade firearms, make incendiary traps, and do all kinds of stuff like that. But I'm not doing that. So getting flagged for something that's very minor, they should be glad I'm not doing that. And I know that I'd eventually get flagged, but guess what? I can make 100 different YouTube channels, or even keep reposting it and changing it up and trying to just keep going. But I'm not provoking stuff like that to be having somebody be a vigilante on me. And the social media vigilantes where you have your ELU, end user license, and they'll victimize you by, oh, you can't do this, and then you go on, you look at 4,000 other videos, they're doing the same thing, and you kind of feel, if you got a weak personality, you're like, oh, they're just picking me, single selecting me, man, I'm not going to do that. I'm not a victim of nothing. Anything I do, I'm responsible for what I do. You know how social media impacts the world, they're responsible for what they do, good and bad or ugly or indifferent. Then nobody's ever speaks up on a lot of things because they don't break bad the way I do. You know, I'll sink myself by telling the truth, but I won't implicate nobody in that. I won't blame anybody but myself. The videos I do is to show you guys how to live like I live with very little, nothing money. Like when I make videos lately, I haven't made a lot of videos, and there's reason being I've been raising baby chickens, and I'll give you guys a poor boy problem and a poor boy solution. I've been raising chickens for a long time. I'd have the chicks from like chick days here and there. There are people and this and that. People give me some, and when they give them to me, they're usually just raised, and I can just put them outside. But with chick days, you gotta keep your chicks inside. You need to keep them like 90. They need to be warm for at least 2 or 3 weeks so they can actually build a tolerance up to their environment, be in a stable, comfortable place where there's not a lot of noise, a lot of traffic with people walking around and stuff. And I'd have them on the kitchen table or sitting here right where I'm recording this video on the counter. The problem is they start getting bigger, they fling poop, they fling food, and then you got to vacuum it, you got to clean it, you got to bleach it, and you got to go through all that process. So a friend of mine helped me. He helped me take the door off the chicken run that I built, because I built a chicken run on the coop to prevent the water puddle in front of the door when I was letting the chickens out, and it gave the chickens more space. So having the two little, one was a rabbit cage my parents bought. They bought another little cage from a guy, and the one cage got kind of dilapidated, tore up really bad. The rabbit cage, I don't know how, because it has chicken wire, and I looked at it extensively, and I don't understand how raccoons was actually getting the baby ducks out. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And you can find it, and I seen behind the pond as the bones and stuff years ago. So I said, hell with this. I moved all that stuff in the chicken coop. So the rabbit cage where it had the box where the rabbits could nest in it, basically I tore that off because some girls made it. It came from down by Lake of Ozarks. So what I did, I tore it off, and I'm going to put a flashing on it, put some screws in it, and on the top I'm going to take a grinder and cut a hole, or I could put a heat light. Or I could put a heat light, and I can move the heat light up and down for keeping the chickens warm in a roll of brooder, and throw some, it's got holes in the bottom of the chicken wire, so any of the poop or food or stuff can fall out, and then I can rake it all up and then take the trash can and wheel it out. That's what I've been doing, because I didn't really build a chicken coop very good, so I overkilled it really badly, because I used hardware cloth and I put tin over it and I should have done it differently. I should have built in a different spot, of course, as well, where the sides of it would actually flip up to where I could actually collect the eggs easier and have nest boxes. Have, like, on the side of the building, it just be like a wall like this. You have, like how my fingers are, you have tiers where you could flip this up, and this is one. You flip the next one up, and there's boxes where you collect the eggs easier and stuff like that. And if you had a concrete floor, it would be even better. Just to have a whole chicken coop on concrete with a French drain in it, where you could actually rake and sweep it out, and have a door on both ends where you could clean it out the back, you could clean out the front, and you could pressure wash it or use a garden hose and just get it completely cleaned out. Because the chicken maintenance, keeping the chicken coop clean and clean hay will give you clean eggs, and happy chickens give you lots of eggs, and they'll actually, as soon as they're really happy, then they'll start setting on eggs and creating babies, and the rooster breeds them and stuff of that nature. So that's a good thing. And I've just been doing gardening. I started on a garden. They said it was supposed to have a lot of rain, so I cut a couple rows, and I used the old chicken poop in front of the chicken coop. And last year I grew corn that's about 16 foot tall, and I grew summer squash, which I never grew before, and I had probably about 30 summer squash. And I mean, as big as my arm if you've seen some of the other videos, if you follow what I do. So I mean, I haven't been doing much reloading. Like, my buddy Mr. Fix-It, he bought me some primers, Chad Light primers and stuff like that. So I have almost everything for doing shot shells, and for doing like the metallics, which is like the 45 long Colt, 45 ACP. I'd like to get some new clean brass, and then the bullets, the powder, and the primers and stuff of that nature, where I could actually do it. And I could do it in my block way, where I'd have 2 blocks. One would be for installing the primers. Next one would be the primer with the powder in it weighed out, and then from that then on to putting the bolt into the brass and crimping it into place. I do everything like in order. Like, my prep is something that is exceptional that I have. If I do body work, everything I do is all about the prep work. If I cook, reload, fish, hunt, skin a deer, or clean a fish, or even just cleaning up produce, vegetables and stuff for cooking and stuff of that nature. It's all about prep work. Prep work is a very key ingredient to it. Your wisdom you get from experience, your knowledge you can get from reading, learning, watching others on YouTube, or family, which I was actually blessed with by having a lot of family that are mechanics, carpenters, farmers. So basically what I've done to actually incorporate my life in the easier aspects, I've downsized everything. And I really like to break bad, and my shortcomings, I will put them on Front Street, because I would like to see other people not make the mistakes that I genuinely made. So I'm no professional at nothing. I'm just really blessed at a lot of stuff I do. Because I mean, a lot of people won't speak about God on YouTube because they don't want the backlash. God isn't really a religion. It's the universe, It's like the great spirit, creator of all things big and small and stuff of that nature. It's more of a Native American thing, kind of Christianity, Hinduism. I don't really have a real divine religion. Maybe identifies maybe a Christian, spiritualist, or more like a spiritualist, where I understand all the stuff, and I do believe in Jesus and stuff like that, and I even believe in Muhammad and lots of other stuff and Buddha's teachings. So I'm not really stuck in one aspect. Because on YouTube, you follow my channel, it's like, this guy, man, why don't he just pick one subject? Well, I'm not a one-trick pony. Some people have just something they do, and that's what they do professionally for their business and selling products. If they're reloading or fly fishing or fishermen or teaching people videos how to do stuff and people buy that, I'm not doing that. I mean, I just like to give my knowledge away for free. And when I do that, some of the people that's passed away, that's family and friends, that in my heart makes them immortal, makes me the wealthiest man in the world, because I've kept something that holds my heart alive. So some people just enjoy doing things for money. I don't care about money. Money's attainable, and you can go to work to get money. You can go dig. You can find stuff on the side of the road and dumpster dive. You can go to thrift stores. There's all kinds of things you can do to middleman, which basically what it is, a middleman, and where you find used stuff and you resell it. I mean, a lot of free stores do it, and a lot of people aren't going to get extremely wealthy doing it. I've seen places like Goodwill where it's supposed to be a non-profit agency, but the guy that owns the place and the organization's like a multi-millionaire, and that kind of makes me look twice at the whole thing. Are you really trying to help people? And then I'll go in there and think you're going to see something that's going to be a relatively good price, and then you're like, I was going to buy a hoodie for a young girl. I said this 100 times in other videos, probably, or at least a handful of times. I figured it'd be like $10. And it had a price tag on, which was brand new. They selling it for the brand new price. And I'm like, buddy, that's not really non-for-profit. You're not really trying to help somebody. I'm just trying to help a young girl that didn't have much money and didn't have a very good family structure to stay warm, in fall and winter type stuff. So I do stuff to genuinely help somebody. I don't do it for monetary gain, sexual innuendos, or instant gratification or anything of that nature. I'm on YouTube to have fun and maybe network with some people, meet some like-minded folks. I'm not out here to create optimists, have oppositions and all that BS. And some of my music, is kind of racy, it's kind of touchy, and the music thing is its own thing. Like the hip hop, it's like a cross hip hop, but I call it as horror hop, where it's all bad and ugly and dark. But when you start taking away scenarios up, you can see somebody going through hell, and it's just like Dante's Inferno. It's like you're meeting Faust, the devil and stuff like that. Just because I always go say I'm a hillbilly, doesn't mean I can't read about Dante's Inferno, Machiavelli, the Prince, and understand the deception of this world, or even reading the Bible. But there's contradictions in many things, and I see it as that, because when a human writes something, there's always going to be contradiction. Because if you would think, if God was speaking, a creator of all things, and I'm not, how do you really contradict something that you don't understand? It's kind of like NASA always wanting to send stuff up in outer space. If you're supposed to be in outer space, we've probably been born in outer space. Or if we're supposed to be in the bottom of the ocean, we'd probably have gills. It's realistic thoughts. It's my own thoughts. It's not to say just because I feel that way, nobody else should do it. That's their own business. But I don't think it's good for the environment. Some of the stuff goes on, and some of the tragedies that happen, like the people trying to dive down to the Titanic and they unfortunately tragically died. I mean, some things are best left unsaid, and some things are best left not tampered with, and that's a nice way of saying it. But I'm not trying to offend anyone with anything I do, because I've broke bad so many times in my life. I think when you tell the truth, you're more in your spirit than you are to anything, because I don't have nothing to lose and nothing to gain. And I mean, I might gain subscribers from being me, or I might even lose subscribers, or nobody even cares. It may just be me talking to myself, but that's okay. I just really like to see a better world where the youth have good family structure, good learning behavior, and ability to become future members of society, or not future members of the prison system, or the warmongering, or being tortured, starvation. And I see that in a lot of other countries, like one of the worst countries is Burma. The where they had a civil war that lasted for years. Burma, Laos, Cambodia, different places like in Nigeria, where you have pirates and cutthroats and hackers and scammers, romance scammers on social media and stuff like that. It's pretty bad. And I can understand why they do it. When you're in poverty, you probably do something bad. Even like drug cartels. Okay, the guy's a drug mule. He can provide food for his family. He helps his family while he's hurting another family. Some people don't understand that aspect. And that's something the DEA and all those people, law enforcement, don't understand. Sometimes people will sacrifice themselves to save the people they love. And they don't care about the outcome or who it affects or how it affects somebody else, because they're demonized living in poverty and living hell. Cause some of these people don't, they actually become drug mules. They don't have electric, don't have running water, don't have food, and then they might get a little house that has electric and running water and provide food for a family. Then say one day they get caught and they have to do a life sentence. You know, if you can make your family and your cousins and nephews, brothers and sisters, your parents set to where they never have to suffer the way they did, having to be migrant workers, cutting bananas, picking grapes, collecting coffee, stuff of that nature. You know, some people are going to do that. But then again, some folks won't do it because they actually they just rather suffer with integrity, kind of like me, than do it wrong. So, I understand the world in different aspects. When I break bad, it's like epiphany from God, because I can't sleep sometimes. I have a little bit of insomnia, wake up in the middle of the night, and I like for people to understand where I'm coming from and not assume nothing. Not assume, well, he says this in the song, well, that's how he is. Well, he does this, well, that's how he is. No, it's not all about that. It's about being a better person. Being a better person is oftentimes a sacrifice. Like, I could have a lot of fake friends and be around the people I used to be. You know, I just can't tolerate it no more. Being around people on drugs or alcohol or the lying, the stealing, the gossiping, and the BS they bring. Because they make me feel just as alone as being alone. And, you know, I can suffer. It works like this. I don't need help to suffer. I can screw up on my own. So, just, you have to put the weight I don't like to carry the weight of the world on me no more. Like, for years, you're like, oh, you're fat man from the heart, you're big and fat, blah, blah. Yeah, some people carry their pain in their head. Some people carry it in their body and fat, and they have bad eating disorder. It can be bulimia or overeating, gorging, stuff like that, or they could be drugs or alcohol. We're all different. We all have our own suffering, and everybody gets their fair share of it. And some of us get just more than we could ever understand, and almost more than we deserve. But you know, the wisdom that comes with it is something you pass on to other folks to help them going through their trial and tribulation. So, if you like what I got to say, hit like and subscribe. I hope this video is not too long or offensive in any such way. I just like to tell my story and actually provide you guys some interesting content and some stuff that's fun, from fishing to working on cars, doing everything with nothing. The only thing I have is knowledge and the only thing I have is God, truthfully, a little bit of knowledge, some tools, and inspiration, and some optimism to keep on going. That's why when I get in a bad way, I'm singing a song. If I get really intensified, it may come out really bad and toxic and sound very vile, with a lot of cussing. Or I might go a different way and draw pictures, something crazy, kind of trippy hippie, or outlandish, something crazy of that nature. Or I might go DIY or just sit out in the yard with my chickens. I have created my own way of coping with things in this world. And doctors want to fill me full of blood pressure pills, anxiety pills, cholesterol pills, this, that. And then other people are like, oh, you want to try some drugs? No, I don't do drugs. Oh, you want to drink with us? No, I used to drink for a lot, from like 14 up to about 34, about 20 years of my life. I never found nothing in a bottle that ever made me happy. There's no genie at the bottom. There's no golden ticket at the bottom. It's just a reoccurring hell. It starts out fun, it ends all bad. That's how drugs and alcohol, addictive personalities and situations work. It starts out fun, ends all bad. And they're like, well, why do people do that? Then people aren't doing it because they I don't know how, it's a touchy subject. When folks do things, even though it might be killing them in a certain aspect, it might be pacifying a bad memory or making them feel good. Like when people take pills, oh, I feel good, but your brain's being your brain's being molested. It's being switched around with them pills, because them pills can make you feel different ways. Like drugs can make you feel a different way. Alcohol. Well, I'm sitting outside working, I'm chainsawing, doing all kinds of stuff, working, and it's hot. Next day, it's like, oh man, I don't feel good, and I feel dizzy and hungover and drunk. My whole body hurts. But when I was drunk, barbecuing, cutting wood, building, doing all kinds of stuff, didn't feel nothing. Next day, you're gonna feel it. So there's always a price that comes along with everything. So I have more love in me than I do hate. And when I speak on things, you're like, well, you're old country hillbilly, you got a bad accent and bad way you carry yourself. It's like, no, I don't have a bad way I carry myself. I don't hate on nobody. I don't try to judge. When I see stuff that I find vile, I speak on that is all.